This episode of Later with Bob Costas from December 3rd, 1990 is a really cool one. A couple of reasons. Format-wise, unlike any other episode in the series, there were two guests. Boxer George Foreman and boxer Evander Holyfield. And Foreman was on his comeback trail. And he talks to Costas about his goal of just becoming world champion once again. And he achieved it. Not in this fight, down the road. Both boxers are asked about Mike Tyson, who obviously was the greatest boxer of the era. And the end of the show had probably the most scripted comedic segment of Later ever as well. So, odd episode. A cool one. Costas groupies are going to be lining up. So enjoy this from 34 years ago tonight.
Thanks for staying up later. You know, from time to time, people have said to me, Bob, these chairs are big enough that two of you could fit into one of them. But you cannot fit both George Foreman and Evander Holyfield into this chair. So we start with George Foreman. And after the break, Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion of the world, will be here. On April 19th, you hope that Evander Holyfield will be the former heavyweight champion.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. I didn't come back to fight for the title. I came back to win the heavyweight championship of the world. It's my destiny. I'm there now.
How are you going to do it?
Oh, it's easy. If I miss him with my left and my right, I'm going to belly bump him.
What are you tipping the Toledos at right now?
I'll tell you one thing. When I get down for fighting, by fight time, I'm going to be down in real fighting trim. I'm going to surprise everybody.
By coming in at what?
I'm going to be lower than I am now.
And what are you at right now?
Yeah. I'm at a trim 305 pounds. No, I'm exaggerating. Believe me, I'm gonna try to weigh in about 250 pounds. I'm gonna be light.
You gotta be...
So I can dance around and get him tired, and then when he let him drop.
You gotta be in the vicinity of 275 right now, right?
Yeah, I'm about 276, 77, 78, 79. I can't lie, you know.
What did you think as you watched Holyfield put Douglas away?
Splendid. I think it was the greatest thing about it. It ended with no controversy. One guy on the canvas, the referee counting him out. Nobody's talking about the count was too long. Should we strip him of the title because such and such? It ended the way a title match ought to end. There was no controversy in anyone's eyes. Evander Holyfield is the heavyweight champion of the world. That's wonderful.
Have you noticed people's attitudes toward you changing? When you were on the show about a year ago and we talked about your entire career, the Olympic gold medal, winning the title from Frazier, then losing it to Ali, when we talked about all those things, at that time, people looked upon you pretty much as an oddity, almost a sideshow kind of thing. I sense that it's different now.
Who was it?
Oh, I don't know. People I'd certainly never agree with and, in fact, wouldn't even associate with, but...
You know, I don't like that. So, a lot of people say, well, George Foreman is just out there just for fun. But seriously, I've had almost 70 fights, more than 70 fights. I've had, what, 65 knockouts. Something serious about what I do, believe me.
When we got together the last time, it was just before you were to fight Jerry Cooney. And you...
Boy, that was a tough cookie. I'd intended to conceal my skills and make people think that maybe I was over the hill so I could get a title shot. But that boy hit me with such a hard left hook. I mean, it made my knees quiver and everything. I said, hey, come out of your bag, George, quick, or you're going to get knocked out. I had to fight him for life.
Can stay away from you. He has pretty good boxing skills.
Well, what in the world is he doing trying to stay away from a senior citizen? I'd like to know that. Folks at home gonna say, man, what's wrong with you? Get in there and fight him. I'm gonna lick my chops and say, come unto me, baby. Would you come into my parlor, said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor that you ever did spy. I'm gonna tear him up.
Now, here's a guy who started out as a light heavyweight. Only recently got up over 200 pounds.
He's a genuine heavyweight. Don't fool yourself. Joe Louis, the greatest fighter of all time, never weighed any more than 195 when he was at his greatest. Don't fool yourself. Muhammad Ali, a top fighter at 205 pounds. Same with Joe Frazier. He's not tricking me. That boy's got muscles in his toes.
He can hurt you then.
I'm not taking him lightly. When he gets in the ring, once you begin to be over 200 pounds, you're no longer considered a small man. He's a big old guy. And I'm not taking him lightly. I'm not going to play with him.
Suppose somehow he lasts past the 6th or 7th round. You got questions in your mind about what you can do at your age, 8th round, 9th round, 10th round?
All I can tell him, Evander, when you wish up on a star, makes no difference who you are.
You see him stretched out on the canvas.
I'm going to knock him out. 1 or 2 rounds. 1 round will be for the show. As Muhammad Ali would say, the next round he's got to go.
You're getting him in 2?
2 rounds.
He's a nice guy. You were telling me that just before we started. He's a nice guy.
The salt of the earth.
Are you going to feel remorse then, having to put him away?
Never a punch in anger. Never a shot in anger. All it's a mere hunger. I got too many children to feed, man.
Not to mention feeding yourself.
Really. That's why I'm so popular now. Most people in this country own a restaurant. And they know if I have money, I'm coming to see them.
You know, that's right. The last census revealed, oddly enough, 53% of all Americans own a restaurant or snack bar of some kind.
That's right. And they love me because they know I'm not going to shy away from their businesses. I stop all down the streets, down the highways, and buy hamburgers, cheeseburgers, bacon and eggs, pizzas, ice cream. I just love the people.
So you're on that cholesterol regimen then?
Oh, they're coming up with a new hamburger now. It's not going to have much cholesterol, and I just can't wait. I'm gonna eat many of those things.
How have you been training? What's your routine like these days?
Well, I do a lot of running now. I just can't sit at home. You know, I never get out of training. I've been back. I've had more fights, literally, than Evander Holyfield. In 7 years, I've had him in 3 years. I've had 25 fights. I've been more active than him. I never stopped training, so it's not like I got to go into training. All I got to do is just stop eating so much.
Can you do that, though?
Mm-mm. I'm not going to try. This time, I'm going to be heavyweight champ of the world. I want to make a lot of money, but I want to feed myself. No more sacrificing, sitting up in the room nervous, hungry, smelling food all through the doors. I'm not going to do that. When I see a guy frowning up, staring him in the face, I'm just going to be a happy guy eating and training. I'm going to be in good shape, but I'm not going to let the people down. You know I'm closer to 60 than I am to 19 years old. I'm not going to let the world down. When I get in that ring, you're going to see one of the best-looking bodies ever of an athlete. A 50-year-old man looking like this. You're going to say,
you're 50 now?
I'm closer to 50 than I am to 30.
How old are you?
39.
No! You're at least 42.
39.
You're 42, aren't you?
I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Is that a reasonable guess?
Personal.
Oh, I didn't mean to pry.
Well, I tell you what, I've got a heavy birth certificate. I'm not going to kid you. It's heavy.
What about Mike Tyson, once you get by Holyfield?
Oh, Mike Tyson, he's a nice kid. You know, they call him Iron Mike.
Nice kid? You like him?
Yeah, I like the kid. He's nice.
How much time have you spent with him, Tyson?
I see him occasionally. He's just a nice guy. He's growing up real quick. He's a millionaire. I'd like to be able to borrow some of that money from him sometime. But other than that, he's a nice kid.
See, now, no matter what happens after this fight with Holyfield, you're set for life. The purse is big enough, win or lose, you're set.
I know one thing, it's not about money, believe me. I got back into this ring, I've been fighting for $500 sometimes, $300, just enough to pay my telephone bill. The idea is to come back and be heavyweight champ of the world. You can always earn money, but you can't always be heavyweight champ of the world. I want to be champ of the world. I can show the whole world that the age 40 is not a death sentence. 50 is not a death sentence. You can use the word potential along with 50, 55, 60. I'm going to be heavyweight champ of the world, standing outside with that belt. It won't fit around my waist, but I'm going to tape it. And I'm going to be guarding my mailbox. Nobody won't steal my Social Security check.
You know some people are going to say, until he gets in the ring with Holyfield, he's come back, and he's made himself a factor, and he's got the big purse, but he's just fought a bunch of tomato cans until he goes in against Evander.
They're only saying that because it's true. They wouldn't be saying it unless it was true.
You admit it?
Yeah.
This is the first real test.
No. I stay right along in the same deal. I don't never change. I was just teasing you. I can't knock Evander Holyfield. He's around here somewhere. But realistically, I fought some good fighters. Believe me. 1 or 2 at least.
A second round knockout for George Foreman. Evander Holyfield dictating the tempo out of the gate. Final seconds, round 1.
Great three-punch combination by Holyfield.
All right, here is the heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. Take us into the ring in Las Vegas back in October. It's the third round. Buster Douglas goes to throw that uppercut, and you see your opening.
Actually, I feinted him with the jab because I was hitting him with the jab so much. When I feinted him, he went for it. And I just stepped out of range of the right uppercut, and I was able to counter with a good right hand.
So you anticipated. When you feinted with the jab, you thought he'd see that as an uppercut opening, and you were ready. It was all part of a process.
Exactly.
When you connected, did you think there was any chance he'd get up?
Well, I know when I hit him hard, and I was hoping that he wouldn't get up, and he didn't. So that was enough for me.
A lot of people think he quit. Regardless of what kind of shape he was in the first place, he hits the deck, and then he's kind of pawing at his face with his gloves, and no question he was hurt, and very little question that you would have finished him off after that. But a lot of people think he could have gotten up. What did you think?
Well, that's a matter of opinion. I wasn't Buster. I'm not the one that got hit, so I felt that a man with just won the world title, and I felt that if he could have got up, I'm sure he would have got up.
What did you think when you saw him come into the ring? Was it apparent to you that he was not in the kind of shape he had been in several months earlier against Tyson?
No, not really, because I really wasn't worried about Buster. I knew I had trained hard, and I had worked so long, and I was just ready to fight.
Now, at least some people within boxing are saying that Tyson deserved the crack at the winner of the Douglas-Holyfield fight. They object to you fighting Foreman before Tyson gets his shot at the winner. Do they have a good case?
No, not really, because the rules and regulations say I have a year before I defend against the #1 contender. And within that year, I can fight whoever I would like to. For 2 years, I tried to fight Tyson. He fought whoever he wanted to. Even as a manager, he still found some kind of way to fight Buster Douglas. In my case, I have a year, and I decided to fight George Foreman, and I'm looking forward to fighting George.
See, now, Don King's interpretation is something different. Don King's interpretation, as you know, is that you're obliged to fight Tyson immediately. But leaving it at that, what I hear you saying is, if you beat Foreman, you will fight Mike Tyson before October of 1991, which would mean that you will have met him before a year elapses since you assumed the title.
That's correct.
So you'd be ready to fight Tyson in short order?
No problem.
How do you view a Holyfield-Tyson fight? What would be your strategy against him?
Well, actually, everybody know that Tyson's a one-dimensional fighter. He come forward, he's a strong fighter and very aggressive. And I would pretty much fight him on the same style that Buster Douglas fought him on. I would use my jab and a lot of combination and use a little bit of movement.
You think you're too quiet for some people's taste to be the heavyweight champion of the world? You know, there was Ali, and in his own way, although he wasn't a likable guy, Sonny Liston was a guy people could get a feeling about. And there have been others who in one way or another had something colorful about them. And they say, Evander Holyfield, nice guy, but not a colorful guy.
It's a matter of opinion. I feel that it's different stroke for different folks. I feel there's a lot of people like me for who I am. And most important, I like myself for who I am. And it's not necessary for me to try to be like other people, because that didn't get me here. Me being myself is what got me into this position, and I'm going to continue to be myself.
There's an interesting story concerning your background. You didn't meet your natural father until you were 21 years old.
I did. It was right after the '84 Olympics, and my mother took me to Alabama to meet him, and I met him, and now today, you know, we speak a lot, and we talk, and I met my other brothers, and it's like a reunion.
What were the circumstances that kept the two of you apart that long?
Well, my mother, she just felt that it wasn't necessary for me to meet him because what went on between them two, and I guess that's personal. I guess you have to ask her if you wanted to know that.
And she waited specifically until you were 21, till in her mind you were an adult, and then said, now's the time?
Yes, she felt that my mother's a strong woman. She felt that she can take care of me without help, and she did a good job. And now that I'm a grown man, she felt that it's right for me to know who my father is.
Did you have a lot of questions as an adolescent, teenager, about your dad, did you?
Not really. I was at the boys club a lot, and there's a lot of men at the boys club, and there's a lot of kids there that didn't have father, and so we had a pretty good time, made the best of what we had.
What was it like when you finally got together with your dad? Was he familiar with your career? Had he followed you from a distance?
No, not at all. My father didn't even know my last name. It's a situation where they had watched me on television, but didn't know who I was because I left at such a young age.
So he had seen those fights because apparently he was a sports fan, but he didn't realize it was his natural son that he was watching.
Not at all. Only clue that they had is that in Olympics, they always said that I was from Atmore, Alabama. And Atmore is so small that only 8,000 people, and everybody in Alabama knew each other for was in Atmore.
What was it like when you finally got together with him?
It was, well, you know, it was a joyous moment to know my father was still living and knowing that at that age my father looked good. And I pretty much knew in the future, you know, I want to get better.
Now, what are your thoughts on George Foreman? This is a guy who everybody says, regardless of his age and regardless of his size, if he catches you with one of his punches, he's still got the heavy hands. They can do the damage.
Well, you know, just like they say, if he catch me, you know, I have a lot of respect for George Foreman. In '74, he was king of the ring, and I respect him then. I respect him as a boxer, and I respect him as a person, most of all because he do believe in Christ. But I know when it get time to competing, he gonna have to show me a little bit more than he'd been showing me in the previous fight.
You know what people are going to say if you beat him. They're going to say, he beat an out-of-shape, flabby Buster Douglas, then he beat an over-the-hill and somewhat rotund George Foreman, so show me something. That's what they're going to say going in against Tyson if you get by Foreman.
Well, there's no problem. I'm looking to maintain this heavyweight championship for 5 years, and all the people in 5 years just line up, and I'm do my best to go through all of them.
And the new, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield.
Coming up, George returns from his late-night snack, and he and Evander go face-to-face.
You know, I'm going to tell the whole world Evander Holyfield is sitting up here with pancake powder on him and jewelry just like Elizabeth Taylor or somebody.
You know, we're back on the air now.
Oh, okay.
What is it you were saying about, you're trying to say that the heavyweight champion of the world is some kind of a wimp?
No, listen, I don't care who you are. I'm not going to allow no young folks to sass me and embarrass me in front of the whole world. Evander Holyfield, a young man, he's enthusiastic and everything, but I've got age and craftiness. I'm going to use it against him. And I'm not going to allow him to sit up here and sass me in front of you and your audience like this. I'm not going to do it.
Have you been showing this guy a little bit of back talk, a little bit of insubordination?
Not at all, but I am in the ring.
You see that? He's sassing me. He's insinuating that he's going to do something underhand in the ring.
If I might paraphrase, what I get out of him is he's going to let you do all the talking, and then he's going to level you.
You agitating. He's agitating, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to let you down. You at home, you see Evander Holyfield sitting up here with me on television. Don't think he's my friend. No. He and that Lou Doofus got tricks planned for me. They intend to get me in that ring, hit me all in my stomach and everything. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let him get away with it. I'm going to be heavyweight champ of the world. I want him to know right now, sit there, enjoy it. Go home, sign autographs. But on April the 19th, I'm going to be heavyweight champ of the world. I don't want anybody coming up to me telling me, maybe you got a chance, George.
Do you dislike him? Looks like a lovable man. Maybe a little overly talkative, but a lovable man.
I don't dislike him. I don't dislike him, but he know that...
Don't sass me, I done told you.
He going to wake up and realize...
Don't sass me in front of these people.
That he's in the wrong year. He's not in 74. That's 1990.
So actually, he's saying you're not off by just a year. He's saying you're off by a few decades.
I ain't playing no more. I'm not talking no more. It's time to quit the talking. It's time to fight.
So from this point on, you're not saying another word. This is it. This is pretty much a scoop.
But one thing I want everybody to know, I'm going to show the whole world that the age 40 is not a death sentence. When you see me knock Evander Holyfield out in 2 rounds, you're going to think, man, is the world coming to an end or something?
How humiliating would it be for you if a 49, 50-year-old, whatever it is, what was it, 42?
I'm closer to 50 than I am to 30.
He's closer to 50 than he is to 30, as he's been saying repeatedly. If this guy were to knock you out, how humiliating would that be?
That's if, though. You know, this guy ain't going to knock me out.
I'm not going to. The world is not going to allow you to get in that ring and run from me. They're going to say, what's wrong with you running from that old man like that? Get in there and fight. And I'm going to say, come unto me, baby. Come on, come on.
Suppose
I got so many tricks up my sleeve. I got more tricks up my sleeve than an alligator got teeth.
How many teeth does the average alligator have?
I don't know, but he can sure bite. But I'm telling you, I'm not playing. I got tricks up my sleeves. I'm not going to reveal on television or to him all the things I got up my sleeve. He's a nice young man. He's champion of the world. He's good looking. He's on television doing movies and everything. He's got muscles and all that. But I'm not going to allow him to whip me in front of that crowd. It's going to be the big bump over at Donald Trump's. When everybody come down there, April the 19th, and see the greatest show on earth, to see the man like a marvel, a geriatric marvel, to see him recapture the heavyweight championship of the world. There's going to be dancing in the street. People going to have ribbons hanging all out the window. There's going to be big buffets. You come on down there and see this. It's going to be lots of fun.
You're not going to bypass many of those buffets, right? You're going to take full advantage.
I'm going to eat myself into the heavyweight championship of the world.
Hey, you see, this man's doing a lot of your work for you. He's promoting the fight by himself.
Well, yeah, I know. You know, my mother told me respect my elders, and I'm definitely respected.
That's it. I'm through.
The man has left. Now, how are you going to feel? This man is beloved. There he is. He's leaving. The technicians are in awe. The cameramen, they all want his autograph. They want to shake his hand. America loves this man. How are you going to feel when you lay him out?
Well, you know, I realized that I can love a man and still, when it comes down to the ring, beat him. I'm like, I got a lot of respect for George Foreman, like I said. He's a former champion, but George is fighting out his time. It's 1991 when we get in that ring. In 74, yes, he was the king. He had his day, and his day is gone. And I got to make him remember on the 19th that his day is long gone.
You know, it was just about getting to the point where I was going to have to slap both of those suckers silly. Fortunately, as you see, they've moved on to another appointment. Where they're going at 2 o'clock in the morning is absolutely beyond me, but we'll see you later.